Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube today. Hello, friends. Your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Florio here. I am joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We got the Phenom Michael Bullock. We got the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into the action this evening. Monday Night Raw live this evening from the Bell MTS Place in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, exclusively on the USA Network, as always. And we started the show with Randy Orton. Randy Orton cuts a promo, and he gets interrupted by Kevin Owens. And all I can say was this was a fantastic way to start the show tonight. Another good segment with Randy Orton. Now, it wasn't as hot as this segment with Edge or Matt Hardy, but both men played their respective parts well and did a good job of building up their match, which was set for the main event of tonight's show. And I have no clue whether it was happening, but this would have been a great night for Edge to show up, considering it's in Canada. But he did not, so, little spoiler there. But he will be showing up in a few weeks. That's all I can say right now. It was announced that Edge might be coming back. He's advertised to come back in a few weeks on March the 9th when Raw emanates from Washington, D.C. But next week, Edge's wife, Beth Phoenix, she will be in Brooklyn at the Barclays to provide a medical update on her husband. Oh boy, I smell a rat. Or should I say I smell a viper. I got a feeling Randy Orton is going to do probably the most dastardly thing he's probably done, probably since what he did to Stephanie McMahon back in 2009.
I'll say this, he better not do it, because if he does, man, that means war.
I got a feeling he's gonna. That's all I'm gonna say about it. But nonetheless, though, this segment was very well done. It came out really good. Yes, Bo, go ahead.
And another thing for you, as the late Gorilla Monsoon would say, don't start something that you can't finish.
That's exactly right. Good point. But anyways, great way to start the show, and that's really all there is to say on that. So I'm going to bring in good old MF Michael Fletcher. And MF, what a way to start it off. Randy Orton, I mean, these segments with Randy Orton as of late have been very, very well done, very well put together. Now what we saw tonight, maybe not as great as with Edge and Hardy, but still good. MF, are you there? Oh, what happened?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. I asked because Dee says she can't hear anything.
Yeah, no. I think she just might have had an issue on her end, but no. Solid segment, good way to start the show. Look, like we said, it's all about next week. It's gonna be the medical update. You already smell a rat. I think something's gonna happen. There's really nothing more to add at that point. It is what it is, and so we're just gonna have to go from there. So, good way to start the show. Nice promo. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I thought this was a great way to start off Monday Night Raw. I mean, Kevin Owens, confronting Randy Orton and basically wanting the same answers that everybody's been asking since Randy Orton did what he did to Edge the night after the Royal Rumble. And it set up for what was the main event of the evening. And I'm interested to see what happens next week with that medical update, because like you said, Florio, I smell a rat too. I mean, and like you said, I think, like you said, he's going to do one of the most dastardliest things since what he did to Stephanie McMahon back in 2009 with his feud with Triple H. And like I just said, guys, as the late Gorilla Monsoon said, don't start something that you can't finish. Because if Randy Orton does what I think he's going to do, I think there's going to be a seething Edge that's going to want to tear Randy Orton apart. So and I'll even say this, guys. I mean, we've seen Edge in his when he gets angry. I mean, that's nothing to compare what he'll be like if what goes down next week. So, yeah, I really got nothing more to say. I'm interested to see what happens. So, Florio, all I can say is Randy Orton better not do what I think he's going to do, or we got Dee Dee Woodson. So, yeah, I give it to you, Dee Dee.
Okay, I'm trying something different because my headset apparently was not working. So I'm using the computer mic and speakers because it's the only way I can hear you guys. So we're on the opening segment. Is that what we're on?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, it was a good opening promo. Crowd really got into it. And it was kind of nice to see Kevin Owens kind of wanting to defend the honor of Edge and Matt both, kind of in a way. And you know, I think this is going to end up being a pretty good feud for the night with these guys because of course Kevin Owens is the hometown guy. Edge is from Canada as well, so it's kind of like the Canadian guys are sticking together a little bit. So yeah, I mean it was a good way to start the show. Don't always agree with opening segments over opening matches, but this one seemed to work. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
And here was a great way to start off the matches for the evening. We started off with Angel Garza with Zelina Vega by his side going up against Humberto Carrillo. Now, for those of you who may be wondering, yes, in real life, Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo are legitimate cousins. They really are. I was even wondering myself. I wasn't sure if it was a storyline thing, but no, they are legitimate. I looked it up. So part of that Garza family lineage. MF could tell you stories upon days about the Garza family lineage because he knows all about that Mexican wrestling. So that's for another day. But for right now, Carrillo and Garza, they squared off. Angel Garza wins the match. 14 minutes, 5 seconds. And MF, all I can say is these two represented that Garza family legacy very, very well this evening.
Very high, very good. You could even call it fight of the night. This was excellent. This was a 3.5-star fight for me. Great time, ample time, good matchup, solid fight. Nothing really more to add. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, this was definitely a 3.5-star match. I mean, I thought these two really worked out well in this match, and yeah, that heritage that those two carry. I mean, especially as cousins. I mean, I thought it worked out really well, and yeah, so there's really nothing more to add. So Dee Dee Woodson, I give it to you.
3.5 stars, good opener. Had a lot of time to deliver. So yeah, not a lot more I'm going to say. So it's yours, Florio.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you all. 3.5 stars, a very good lengthy match with the wrestlers performing similar spots to tell the story of how evenly matched they are. And this Thursday, Andrade returns from his suspension. He was even in Winnipeg today, but it was obviously to board the flight to Saudi Arabia. So that's why you didn't see him, obviously, but his suspension is up on Thursday, so I'm very curious to see what that will mean for Angel Garza once the United States heavyweight champion makes his return. So that's really all there is to say on that. So moving on. Of course, what is the show without cutouts? Of course, we had Ricochet squaring off against Luke Gallows. Ricochet wins the match, 4.5 minutes. Ricochet, he's winning matches, but yet it doesn't feel like he's gained any momentum. I mean, we're seeing this brief push for what it really is, and we're not playing along with the idea that he's somehow a threat to beat Brock Lesnar with that dream match with Lesnar and McIntyre on the horizon at WrestleMania. So But, it was the classic case of small guy going up against a guy who's got a similar build to Lesnar, which Gallows does. So that's really all there is to say on that. So, and then and speaking of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, they came out. Paul Heyman does what he does best. Cuts a damn good promo. And now, man, apparently that little line that he dropped, where he said, and I'm only quoting here, "If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle." Now I don't know. Was that an old school catchphrase of his? Was that like from the old ECW or from his Paulie Dangerously days in WCW?
In a way, yes. I don't know if it was really executed to be that way. It even I kind of cringed a little bit on that comment. So I mean, it was a little more edgier Paul Heyman, but yeah, poor choice of words.
I agree. But Lesnar enjoyed it, and you even actually heard Jerry Lawler even snicker on the commentary. I heard him snickering. I really did. But it may have been even more compelling if Heyman played this as if he were so confident that he wasn't going to waste a spoiler on Ricochet. But then again, I'm not sure if anybody would actually convince, viewers and us that Ricochet has a chance on Thursday. But I do expect Ricochet to give Lesnar, much more of a fight than we thought. Of course, Lesnar's going to win because, Lesnar and McIntyre, that's the box office draw. So that's all there is to say on that. Then we had, another thing Monday Night Raw has been known for over the years, repetitive matches. And we got one here again. Aleister Black versus Eric Rowan. We saw this last week. We're seeing it again this week. But Aleister Black, he won the match 10 minutes and 45 seconds. Anybody want to get into this, or do you want to just move on? It's completely fine with me. I don't care. So, all right, I'll take that as a move on. So, even though it got 10 minutes and 45 seconds, I mean, this is repetitive. I mean, you may as well go back. Well, that's right. We didn't do a show last week. Duh. So, but this is, classic repetitive booking. And that's. Now, Raw and SmackDown have issues. SmackDown's got issues coming out of the wazoo. Now, when it comes to Raw, our biggest weakness is repetitive storylines. And this is exactly what we're getting here, repetitive matches. And we got that here. But they told a decent story with Black overcoming the OC attack to win the match. The beatdown was nothing special. But perhaps the idea is that they didn't want to make it too strong since Black was able to wrestle and win the match. And apparently, next week, Aleister Black versus AJ Styles in Brooklyn. Okay. You got my attention now. That's a fresh match. So that's all there is to say on that. But if I were to give it a rating, I would probably give this about 2.5 to 3. I'm sure my cohorts would agree with that. So then we had the beautiful Charlie Caruso sitting down in a sit-down interview with Drew McIntyre, which I thought came out really well done because of the fact that McIntyre, told basically his story. It was his story about everything he's been through in his life and his career. Showing when he debuted on SmackDown, when he was that clean-shaven young guy, when Vince McMahon dubbed him as the Chosen One. And then showing all his time with the 3-man dud and winning the Rumble and all that. I really love the sit-down interview and the older footage that was included. I wish they would have covered his heel run that preceded his Rumble win. McIntyre surely could have explained away that run as another example of his frustration somehow. it's just strange that his babyface turn has never been explained, and this felt like the perfect forum to tie up that loose end. But it came out really well done, though. Well done. And then more nonsense. R-Truth, with what he called the winter premiere of Truth TV, introduced, and his guests were Bobby Lashley and Lana. Yawn. And Bobby Lashley, and it led into a match. Bobby Lashley won it, minute 50. Now this is where it gets interesting. The 6 women that are going to compete inside the Elimination Chamber match to determine Becky Lynch's challenger for WrestleMania, moderated by Jerry the King Lawler. And all I can say is this contract signing, in the immortal words of JBL, along with myself and Michael Bullock, it didn't end well. Ain't that right, Bullock?
Yeah, it certainly did not end well.
But the best, I mean,
we had utter chaos.
Yeah, and before I give it to you, Bullock, all I can say is, I mean, everything was great. I loved it all. I'll get into my full thought in a minute, but you know, when she does it each and every Monday night, I have to let it out. Asuka, when Asuka goes on her angry Japanese things, oh, it's so fun. Oh, I love it.
Boy.
Come on, Bullock, you know I love it. We didn't have
I know you do, but
I love it.
Oh man.
That equals ratings. Go on, Bullock.
All right. Well, you seem to agree. Well, I don't know. Well, you seem to think so. I don't know how Fletch and Dee would think about it. They probably would agree with me. It's left to be desired. So, anyways, getting into this, I mean, yeah, I mean, both women, I mean, all 6 of the women signing to make the match official at Elimination Chamber, and things really got out of hand. And then Shayna Baszler was left all by herself, and then the man Becky Lynch shows up, and let's just say, boys, she came to get herself some of Shayna Baszler, and boy, oh boy, they really went at it, and you can't blame Becky Lynch after Shayna Baszler basically took a bite out of her a few weeks ago. So you knew payback was yeah. So obviously, I mean, we all know the outcome of the Elimination Chamber. It's going to be Shayna Baszler that's going to win that, setting up Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. So nothing more to say. Dee Whitson, it is yours.
Yeah, we all pretty much know how this is going to end up in the end. It was kind of interesting how Shayna decided to make her entrance going through the crowd, being the last one after they had already started and everything. You know, trying to make her major statement. As for Asuka and her little thing, normally, yeah, you know, the Japanese or Chinese, whatever they are, you know, that would annoy me. But this time it didn't bother me quite as much because you could almost understand what she was saying, especially when she started counting heads and, you know, making that point that, you know, there's only 5 of us here. Shayna's not here. Shayna, get out here. You know, that type of thing. So yeah, you know, this time it really didn't bother me as much because I could kind of figure out or to a point to what she was trying to say. So yeah, this was a good lead off. You can see pretty much where the battle lines are going to go, like with Liv and Ruby, which kind of throws Sarah Logan in the middle. And then, you know, you had Asuka and Natty that started going at it. So yeah, you can kind of see where all the battle lines are drawn on this. Shayna definitely is your wild card, and definitely more than likely will be the one that's going to come out in the end. I'm just kind of surprised they didn't turn this into like a 6-woman tag or something like they usually do when they have these kind of things. They turn it into some sort of match afterwards. So I'm kind of glad they didn't do it this time. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, I mean, this contract signing did a nice job of establishing the issues between the various wrestlers. Natalya and Asuka are feuding. Morgan and Riot are feuding while their former Riot Squad mate Sarah Logan is the question mark. Asuka was not afraid to call out Baszler. You heard her. You heard that anger. You heard her. You know, in her angry Japanese. You know how much I love it. And of course, Lynch and Baszler have issues. I don't know where Logan stands, but I assume Asuka getting in Baszler's face means the chamber match very likely comes down to the two of them before Baszler obviously wins. So, really nothing more to say. Angelo Dawkins of the Street Profits went up against Murphy. That got thrown out. DQ, minute 5 seconds. But then, Seth Rollins against Montez Ford. Seth Rollins wins the match. 15 minutes and 15 seconds. Didi Woodson, we're obviously not going to get into the Dawkins and Murphy because that was thrown out.
Yeah.
But Rollins and Ford, wow, what a match.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3 1/4 stars. It was a really good match. They gave it plenty of time. I am kind of glad that they did end up throwing out, the partners for both of them and to make it an actual one-on-one. Ford looked really good. I mean, that's one thing I can say about the Street Profits. They do make, the show exciting, and they do pick it back up when you hit a low point. And they definitely did have this one, and it came out really, really good. Even with Seth, pinning in the end, it still was a very well done match. So I have nothing really negative to say about it. Very impressive. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, this is the other match. You can make the argument for Fight of the Night honors. I mean, this was another 3.5 star match. I mean, this was a very good match, even though the crowd never seemed to get all that fired up for it. But let me tell you about Montez Ford. He continues to show real upside in the ring. He really does. I mean, I follow the man on Twitter, for goodness sakes. Every day he tweets out God is good. And that makes me and Didi Woodson very happy, being the children of the Lord we are. And that's why I love it. But I'm telling you, he's going to be a big star from many years from now. I believe it. So I know it's not right away, but maybe years from now, I could see Montez Ford being a household name. I mean, the man's got talent. He's really good on the mic. That's a future star in my book. And Seth Rollins, I think Seth Rollins realized that too, and he made him look real good tonight. A couple of hope spots here and there, but Rollins gets the win, and that might have been one of the sickest curb stomps I've ever seen. I mean, that was an insane curb stomp. Nonetheless, this Thursday at Super Showdown, Rollins and Murphy will defend the Raw Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. So nothing more to say on this. Co-fight of the night for me, 3.5 stars. This ranks up there with the Carrillo and Garza fight. So MF, the first match, but Rollins and Ford, I'm not surprised they tore it down.
Nah, these guys tore it down. This was an incredible fight. 3.5 stars, no doubt about it. It was a good battle. Good title, good matchup. Like you said, the ceiling is very high for Montez Ford. Unfortunately, he didn't deliver tonight. It wasn't the best show, but that's okay. I think over time it'll get better and better. I don't see him as a world champion. I could see Street Profits as future tag champions, but as far as individual right now, I don't think they're going to want to mess around with that. So nothing more to say. Definitely a great match. 3.5 stars. Nothing more to say. Bullock, have you gone yet or not?
He has not.
All right, then Mike, it's yours.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, I agree. This was definitely a 3.5 star match. I mean, yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with Montez Ford here. I mean, he really gave Seth Rollins a run for his money. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. You guys pretty much touched on it. So let's move right along.
And then from there, we move on to the main event of the evening. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, fresh matchup. Randy Orton wins the match, 8 minutes and 10 seconds. But if you noticed, this referee fast count. And it turned out he was a Rollins disciple. Where have we seen this before? Oh, yeah. Brad Maddox, anyone? Brad Maddox? The whole CM Punk and Ryback thing? Hell in a Cell 2012? We all remember that. I know it's something we don't want to remember, but oh boy. 2.5 stars, and hopefully that's the end of Rollins having a heel referee. I mean, it was fine for one night, but we've lived through heel referee angles and they get old in a hurry. I assume it was a one and done because they skipped the part where there's some question over the referee's actions being intentional or accidental. But Owens beat the holy you-know-what out of him. So that's really all I can say on that. So you guys want to get into this or do you want to move on? I mean, it's fine with me. Whatever you want to do. I mean, ugh. All right. Yep. All right. Move on. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to get into the overall review of this show tonight. And I'll say this. Overall, Raw did drag at times in part because 3 hours will always be way too much time to fill for a weekly episodic show. They did nothing to really, get me excited about Super Showdown. In fairness, I'm not even sure what they could have done to make that happen. But I really didn't find the final push to be very compelling. They did load up next week's show, presumably because, believe it or not, it will be the go-home week for the Elimination Chamber. How crazy is that? But, we did get 2 very quality matches this evening with Seth Rollins and Montez Ford and Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. A very good opening segment with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Heyman cuts another money promo as usual. Great sit-down interview with Charlie Caruso and Drew McIntyre. And the ending of the main event really killed it. But I probably would say maybe in the middle, probably. I probably would say about 5 to 5.5. If I'm being honest. If I'm wrong on it, I don't care. But, it is what it is. And since we canceled last week, I did not want to leave you good people hanging for another week in a row. Even though I wanted to, but that's not what we do here. So that's all I can say on that. So, but in all fairness, it was slightly better than last week. But next week, though, MF, if there's one place that Raw can right the ship, there's no better place to do it than Brooklyn at the Barclays next week.
Oh, no doubt about it. 5.5 is my rating. I actually agree with you, Anthony, on that. And yeah, you could say bounce back could be Barclays. I know there is supposed to be Raw sometime down the line in Boston as well. So no, actually SmackDown this week is in Boston. So I mean, there's a chance to ride some ships around. So yeah, no doubt about it. Solid. It was solid for what it was worth. And was it the perfect show? Absolutely not. Was it? I think it was more good than bad though. So I could give this 5.5. So fair enough. Bullock, it's yours.
I'm sorry. I'm only giving this a 4.5 out of 10. I mean, I did not like this show at all. I mean, there was literally no hype for the Super Showdown on Thursday. you have repetitive matches that we had. The ending of the main event really sucked the life out of it, and you also had your typical cutout matches here. So to me, I hate to say it, there was more negative than positive. I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
I'll agree with the 5.5. It was a decent show. Not the best, certainly not the worst. But it did what it needed to do. No, there wasn't a whole lot of hype for Super Showdown, but they did mention it a few times. So yeah, not much more I'm gonna say on it. I mean, it's definitely better than last week's show. So see you all Wednesday night. Good night.
All right, Dee, we'll see you Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem over with MF. But let's get into my Tony's take quick. Impact Wrestling was, well, we moved from Mexico and we're now in Vegas for the taping, for this latest round of tapings. And we started it off with one half of the World Tag Team Champions of the North, Josh Alexander against TJP. TJP wins the match, 14 minutes, 50 seconds. Fight of the night, 3.5 stars. This was really, well, actually second best fight of the night, rather. 3.5 stars. It was really good. And the TJP win sets up a future tag title shot for him and Fala, as Falaba also beat Ethan Page. So look for a World Tag title match between these two teams, maybe at the Revolution pay-per-view in April. Wouldn't surprise me. Willie Mack against Johnny Swinger. Willie Mack wins in 4 minutes, 20 seconds. 2 stars. Okay with the right winner. Madison Rayne against a new girl named Maserati. Madison Rayne wins it, 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Worst fight of the night, 1.5. It was really rough. Nothing more to say. Match 3 of the best of 5 series. Eddie Edwards against Michael Elgin. Michael Elgin looking to close it out. But Eddie Edwards gets on the board. He wins in 13 minutes. This was the fight of the night. 3 3/4 of a star. Very good physical match. Played well off of the previous bouts and also mixed in some news twists as Eddie Edwards finally gets one. Rhino against Dave Christ. Rhino wins 2 minutes, 25 seconds. No rating. It was thankfully short with the right winner. And then a 6-person tag match. World Heavyweight Champion Tessa Blanchard, Trey Miguel, Tommy Dreamer against X Division Champion Ace Austin and Reno Scum. The heel team, Austin and Reno Scum, win it, 16.5 minutes. 3-star match. Was a bit slow at times, but was good overall, with Ace picking up the win ahead of that glorified house show, which was Sacrifice. So, yeah, 7 out of 10. It was an overall good episode. 2 really good matches. Some final build and it was a good final build for Sacrifice. And you know what? I'm actually gonna recap that for you right here and right now. A surprise recap here. So this is how it all went down this past Saturday night. They had a special event. It was called Sacrifice. For those of you who have the Impact Plus, you were able to watch it. Unfortunately, I don't have that, but I'm not going to give a review. I'm just going to tell you what happened. World Tag Team titles on the line. The North against the Rascals. North won the match, 20 minutes and 20 seconds. Kiera Hogan against Ray Lynn. Kiera Hogan winning that in 11 minutes and 10 seconds. Willie Mack defeating Jay Bradley, 6 minutes, 35 seconds. Larry D and AC Romero over OVE, 13 minutes, 55 seconds. Daga over Jay Chris, 16 minutes, 40 seconds. Joey Ryan over Johnny Swinger, 8 minutes, 10 seconds. Jordan Grace versus Havoc for the Knockouts Championship. Jordan Grace retaining, 5 minutes, 45 seconds. Rhino versus Moose. Initially, it was a regular match. Got thrown out by a DQ. Restarted as a no disqualification match. Moose won it, 11 minutes and 55 seconds. And then in the main event, It was a non-title match. World Heavyweight Champion Tessa Blanchard, X Division Champion Ace Austin. Tessa Blanchard won that match 18 minutes and 35 seconds. So that's what happened at the Sacrifice event last Saturday. Now, as far as what we can expect tomorrow night on Impact Wrestling, which will air at 8 p.m. on Access TV with an encore at 11. Daga versus Rob Van Dam. Rohit Raju against Zachary Wentz. Jordan Grace in a Knockouts title defense against Miranda Alize. Okay. AC Romero against Joey Ryan. Match 4 of the Best of 5 series. Michael Elgin and Eddie Edwards. Watch the ending of this. You're not going to believe what happens. And then in the main event, Tessa Blanchard versus Ace Austin. So that's tomorrow night. And then finally, 205 Live from Friday night. Joaquin Wilde against Raul Mendoza. Raul Mendoza wins 8 minutes, 20 seconds. 3-star match. Good and played well off of their first match. They're now 1-1. Tyler Breeze against Samir Singh. Tyler Breeze wins the match 3 minutes, 25 seconds. Dud, move on. Oni Lorcan, Danny Burch versus D. Brian Kendrick and Arya Davari. No disqualification match. Lorcan and Burch win it. 13 minutes, 55 seconds. 3.5-star fight. Really good overall. Played off the feud well. Crowd was into it. Right team won. 7 out of 10. One of the better episodes of the show in weeks. And with ease. With a good open and a really good main event. So 7 out of 10. And friends, that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We will be back with you Wednesday night, 10:30, over on Braves Fan 95 with good old MF Michael Fletcher. We got a big Wednesday night mayhem. MF, it's not, and believe it or not, folks, it's not going to be just AEW Dynamite and NXT. There's more. MF, would you care to elaborate on that? Well, all right. We're not just going to get into AEW Dynamite and NXT. Oh no, there's more. We're also going to preview WWE Super Showdown as well. So that'll be on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we got Strictly Sports, 10 p.m. right back here. NHL trade deadline. We got a lot of stuff to cover with that. And then from there, get into some other news stories like Drew Brees returning, Greg Olson signing with the Seattle Seahawks, week 4 of the XFL, and that'll be on Thursday. And then Friday, Cerebral Smack Talk, Friday Night SmackDown, and our recap of Super Showdown. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, this is your ridiculously overgood brother Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, always and forever, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, go to Punch and Force style. But for now, my friends, God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days, and until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, friends, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.